friends, and welcome back to the Woldenburn Knitting Podcast. My name is Emily, and I'm just so glad that you are here today. Welcome to another regular episode. It has been a while since I've been able to film a proper one, a couple months or so. I was thinking about doing another vlog similar to the last video that I uploaded on my channel, but what I've decided to do is instead I'm going to kind of include some of that at the end in like the life update section. So for now, we're going to kind of do the typical podcast format. I've got a few finished objects to share with you. I've got some whips and some plans, and yeah, let's just dive right into it. First off, I have a couple of cowls. I can't remember if I ended up sharing this one at all. This was one of the Tussnit bonanza that I had going on. I have actually finished all except for, well, because I signed up for another one, sort of. So technically right now I've got 3 on the go, but I finished up all the other ones, so that's not too shabby. This was a cowl. This chair is going to keep bonking back and forth because I'm going to keep leaning on it. What was the name of this one? I can't remember. It's been a while since I finished it. I finished it right back at the beginning of October. It's this really cute colorwork cowl by, was it Brianna K Designs? I could be wrong. I'll have the information on the screen. It's a fingering weight cowl with this colorwork in it. I used some Night Bright yarn coat in the orange. I can't remember what the color was. It was like a pumpkin themed one. And then the minis that I used here were from a discontinued Hobby Lobby yarn set called Pigment and Fiber. It was like something in Florence. There were sets of mini skeins that are a like wool and acrylic blend, and it was like 5 mini skeins, and so I ended up using 4 of them, or was it 6? I think it was 6 because there's a yellow and a burgundy that goes with this as well. But yeah, so this is my finished cowl. I'm not going to put it on because I have my hair up. I'm pin curling it. I'm attempting to get back into trying to figure out how to curl my hair because curling it with a curling iron does not work. It gets greasy and icky, and honestly, I just don't have the time. I don't have the time to deal with that every morning and all that. But there's this. It had some really cool details in it. This increase method was like a pearl twin over, which was a new technique to me. Very easy once you know how to do it, but it involved a double yarn over, and then you have to purl half of it one way and half of it the other way. It was a really interesting technique. And then there was a lot of 2x2 color work, or I think it was 2x1. There's some floats on the back. It was pretty easy to do. Definitely, it's a little bit tighter than my garter stitch section, but it's not too bad. But yeah, so I finished this up. The pattern is now available. I'll have it linked down below. It's just a really simple, cozy cowl, which is kind of my thing right now. And then you just seam it up at the back when you're done. It's knit flat, and then you seam it up to make a bandana cowl. It's really nice. Then I have another cowl. I shared this in my last vlog. This is kind of a self-drafted pattern. I'm really pleased with how this turned out. I had a collection of, again, I don't remember exactly how I got them, but I was signed up for some newsletter or something, and I was able to request to have some yarns to play with. And there were just these little like balls, little nuggets of, what is it, like 6 different types of yarn. And I've had them sitting in my stash for like 3 years or so, maybe more than that. And right before I was going on a trip, I was like, ooh, I'm going to grab this and take this along, and I'm just going to make a scrappy cowl. So that's what I ended up doing. This is the Barocco Sesame, I think. I can't remember what this blue one is. This pink one is the Barocco Remix Light, and I loved working with it. I am determined to get a sweater quantities of this Remix Light because it is just it was just so fun to work with. And it has like these little flecks in it that you can kind of see of like darker pink and white. Like, I loved it. If one of you viewers have some that you are looking to de-stash, please do let me know, because I would love to buy it from you. Oh, it was so fun to work with, and it's so light and drapey. It's classified as a DK, but then each skein comes with like 432 yards, so I'm like, that's a fingering weight, but it was just a delight to work with. The Barocco Sesame and whatever this one was, not so much. They have these little, like, I don't know, they're not even like neps. It's like bits where there's like threads like wrapped around the yarn. And it was really annoying to kind of get the yarn even and like over the needle and whatnot. They were all summery fibers. The Remix Light is a blend of like 4 different kinds of yarn. I don't remember exactly, but they were all like cotton and linen and whatever. And so it made for a really nice drapey cowl. I am actually working on a second sample. I don't have that out here with me because I realized that this is worked side to side and then you seam it up in the back. And I realized when I was doing that I immediately went from increasing to decreasing when I should have worked at least 1, if not 2 rows just straight. Because when I put it on, it tends to want to kind of like, I don't know that you can really see it, but like this kind of wants to like pull and kind of tuck up in there. And it can still look, let me see if I can, this one has a wider neck. Like it still looks really nice, but it doesn't want to like sit quite right. So it's pulling kind of funny. So I need to monkey around with it a little bit before I write a pattern. But that also reminds me that I did not mention what I am wearing. And I am actually wearing 2 pieces of knitwear. Well, 3 if you count my socks, but we're not doing those gymnastics today. The sweater that I am wearing is the retro... Is it just the retro pullover? Retroactive? I think it might be retroactive pullover. I cannot remember the name of the designer off the top of my head. I test knit this last summer. I was pregnant. I was very pregnant when I made it. And when I finished it, I initially thought that I had made it too long because it's a really interesting one that is worked side to side and then you pick up and do the sleeve and pick up and do the hem. Let me get up here a little bit so I can kind of try and show you. But yeah, so it's just a really nice top. It's 4 different colors of yarn. The main color that I use like on my sleeves here, that is a stroll yarn from Knit Picks. And then I have a teal and a multi-variegated pink and then a blue. And those 3 were all my hand dyed. So when I first finished it, I was like, I think it's a little bit too long, but it's a test knit. I'm going to kind of follow what the rules say for that. I popped it on for the first time this fall season and was like, this is the perfect length. I love the fact that it's a V-neck. I have recently been very much struggling with a lot of my sweaters and things being too short and feeling like they're choking me because they're like sitting up here. And I'm just like, what happened since last year when I was wearing all of these and they were totally fine and now they all feel short and choky. So basically I have to go through and modify the majority of my sweaters. But I'm loving this one. I've wanted to make a second one since I finished this one, and now I want to make a second one even more because it's just perfect. It's the perfect thing to wear over top of wear with my skirts. Like, it's amazing. I really want another one. And then the cardigan was a test knit that I did probably around 3 years ago because I was finishing it up shortly after my first was born. And it's just a cozy, comfy cardigan. It's a free pattern from Emily of the Blue Mouse Knits. It is worked in pieces and seamed, and then you pick up the sleeves and knit them down. And yeah, I've honestly been getting so much wear out of it so far this year. It's funny to me how this works because when I first finished it, I didn't really wear it at all. And then I didn't really wear it that much last year, but then this year I have been reaching for it almost every single day. And I'm loving it. Like, it's just made out of an acrylic yarn from Hobby Lobby, so it's just really simple and it has been absolutely perfect. I think I'm finally getting to the point where I'm like embracing my motherhood uniform of choice, which is a skirt and a t-shirt most of the time, but I can do it with knitted sweaters and then just throwing a cardigan over the top. Like, it has been working so nicely. So I just need to go through and modify a bunch of my sweaters that I knit. I think part of it was too is that I knit them while I was pregnant, a large portion of them, and so they're all just too short, because when you're pregnant you have this giant watermelon of a bump and it skews proportions. And so I think that it was just, yeah, I just need to add like at least an inch, maybe 2 or 3 inches to some of them. Yeah, I'm kind of bummed because I have a couple of Tulsa tees that I made in fingering weight, and this would be the perfect time to wear them, but they're too short. And I have so much going on with knitting and test knits and gift knitting that I just can't really take the time to sit down and fix them. But I'm planning to. So that was a little tangent of what I'm wearing. The last finished object I have to share with you is the kids' stick season sweater, and oh man, this thing is so adorable. I knit this out of the Yarn Bee Baby Bee Sweet Delight, which is an acrylic and polyamide blend, or is it polyamide and nylon? It's some machine washable and dryable blend, and it's perfect for little kids' clothes. I've run this through the washer and the dryer already. I absolutely love this. It's so cute. I have realized that I want to make a couple more, but as vests, because it would be so easy to just do it, and then instead of the sleeve just put a little ribbing around the edge. Oh, it'd be so cute. But I knit this in the 5th size, which I think was the 4-year size, and it fits my 3-year-old absolutely perfectly. Like, it is I cannot tell you how stinking adorable that kid is in this sweater. Like, so cute. I did the double fold collar at the top. I knit this on, I think it was a US size 6 or 4mm for all of it. The ribbing was US size 4. And then which is that's a 3.5mm. Yeah. And then for the sleeves, I did it on a US size 7, which is a 4.5mm, because, and I honestly probably should have gone up to an 8 or 5mm needle for it, because my gauge is definitely a lot tighter. As you can see, the sleeve is quite small. It still fits over my son's hand, but if I were to do it again, I would definitely not decrease it this much, just because it is very, very snug. It's not very, very snug. It's snugger than like his other stuff. So I did end up adding about 3 inches to the length to make it work for him. The body lengths just seemed very short, and I knew that if I completely followed the pattern, it was never going to get worn. So I extended it by like 3 inches. So other than that, I knit it to pattern. It's a really lovely pattern. I'm not sure exactly when it's going to come out, but I do highly recommend it, as with all of Rebecca's patterns. Which I don't think I mentioned this. This is by Rebecca of Rebecca Clow of the Crayabea podcast. She is in the process of getting 4 different kids patterns ready to publish, which is very exciting because I absolutely love her designs. She's such a great designer. So that's all the finished objects, and then I'm going to try and quickly go through some whips. The first one is another test knit for Rebecca of Cardigan podcast. I signed up for this one months ago and then have finally gotten it cast on. This is the Hoolie blanket, which is a garter wavy blanket. It took me a little bit to kind of figure out what was going on, but we are well away now. I've got 3 and a bit panels. Technically, I have a 4th panel. Where is that? There it is. But I was finding when I was trying to, I'm doing the join as you go method. You can do either join as you go or knit each strip individually and then seam them all together. And I was trying to do the join as you go, and I realized that I was just picking up in the wrong spot for it. And I couldn't see with this dark yarn where was the right spot to pick up. So I just cast on with this light blue and did that strip, and then was able to figure out where I was supposed to be picking up, to the point that I probably could continue on with this one, but I may just end up seaming this one on at the end or just not using it. We'll see. But I'm just using a bunch of different acrylic yarns, and I'm going to use this as a gift for my nephew that is due later this year, in just a couple of months. I'm gonna finish it up, and it's gonna be a fantastic like car seat blanket. Very excited about it. So that one's deadline is not until Christmas Day, so I've still got a little bit of time to finish that. So I've kind of put it aside for now because I'm working on some other things that have a little bit tighter of a deadline, which I'll talk about in a second. The other test knit, so technically I have a test knit up here that I cannot talk about because it is a secret test knit for an advent pattern, and so we're not going to talk about that, but I'm working on that one too. I'm actually doing a lot of work on that one. This is the third test knit that I currently have going. This is the Fosteriana cardigan is it Rountree Stitchery? I'll have it up on the screen. It's this gorgeous, gorgeous cardigan pattern that has some color work in it, and it's going to involve steeking, and it's like a whole adventure. I am very slowly working away on this. I had to buy some yarn specifically for it. This is the Queensland Shetland Light, I think. It's a 100%, or it's an, I think it's, yeah, 100% non-superwash wool in this beautiful, I think this is the tabby colorway. And I have finally finished the back panel, and I have just picked up stitches to start the left front. Because this is one of those ones, you work the back panel, you work the two front pieces, and then you join them together in the round, because there's going to be steeking, so there's going to be steeking stitches, and then there's these gorgeous tulip color work at the bottom, and it's just going to be amazing. The downside is, I start with my gauge. I am knitting this all on US size 1s, and it's taking a very long time. There's some other people in the test knitting group that are like flying through it, and I'm just like, how? Like, how? Okay. But yes, so very slowly, very, very trying to at least do a few rows every day. The deadline is not until like mid-January, so I feel like I've got time, but slowly working away on that one. Let me see. You can kind of see some of the variants of the yarn. It's just beautiful. Then another project that I actually have, and this one is one that I kind of cast on. This is going to be a gift knit, but I just needed something that was a little bit more small and mindless that I could work on while watching my kids outside. And I cast on a headband pattern. I don't remember the name of the pattern or the designer. I'll try and put that up on the screen, but I'm just knitting this out of some drops. Is it Drops Nord? It's the 100% superwash wool, but like in the worsted weight, and it's this really fun, like, what is this called? It's not broken rib, is it? Maybe it is. I love this stitch pattern. So when I saw this as one of the options for the headband, it's like CK Designs or something. She has a ton of headband patterns with all sorts of different stitch patterns, and they're really lovely. So that is something I'm working on. I'm knitting it on US size 4 or 3.5mm needles. Just kind of picking that up and working on it here and there. Has a little bit of a deadline because it's for a Christmas gift, but not too worried about that. And then I have actually pulled out and resurrected my husband's cardigan. Because apparently I can't do anything without trying to have a super strict deadline. If you've been watching for a while, you may remember that I talked about trying to work a couple rows on this every day, just to try and get it done, but then I started signing up for test knits, and so I couldn't do that. And then I realized that my husband's birthday is coming up in November, and then we also have Christmas that is happening in like a few weeks. And I was like, you know what? It would be really special if I could completely surprise him, because as far as he knows, I haven't touched this thing in months. And he keeps kind of making joking comments about, you know, what do I need to do to get that cardigan done? I'm like, shush, go away. I'm working on other stuff. It's like, I do love you, I promise, but it's just, I'm working on it. But I had a sort of realization moment where I was like, you know what I need to do is I need to finish up the current ball of yarn that I'm working on the body, and then I'm going to pick up and do the sleeves and the collar, and then I will come back and finish the body. And so that is what I have done. This is like the Everyday Bomber, I think is what it's called, by Zanette Knits, and it's a zipper front cardigan, and I'm working on a sleeve. So I've gotten, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 inches done on the body under the arm. I went back, picked up the sleeves, and we're zooming along, trying to get there. Yeah, so I'm modifying it slightly in that there's supposed to be these like faux seam stitches under the along the body and all along the arm, where you do like a purl stitch. I'm not messing with that. I don't care. I personally think the faux seam look in a lot of knitted stuff looks a little silly. If you're gonna have a seam, just put a seam there. That's just me. So I'm not messing with that, and my husband's not gonna give 2 hoots. But yeah, so I'm slowly working away on my sleeve. I've got some decreases going, and then once I finish that sleeve, I'm probably gonna pick up and do the collar, and then come back and do the second sleeve, and we will see. If I start making a immense amount of progress on this before the end of November, well, actually like 2 or 3 weeks from now, when my husband's birthday is, then I'll give it to him for his birthday. If I am not making that rapid of progress, which I'm not expecting to, it will be a Christmas present. And that's what we're gonna do. So I'm trying to get it done. I want to get it done. It's not the most fun thing to work on. Yeah, it's big, and it's a lot of the knitting and then purling and then knitting and then purling. And it's not my favorite. And also I was telling my husband that part of it is that this yarn, I have tried to use this yarn for like 3 different patterns to knit for my husband, I think, at this point. And this is the one that's finally working. But because it has taken so much time and effort to try and figure out a pattern that would work with this yarn and that whole thing, I just have like a mental block with this pattern or with this project. And so I'm hoping that by breaking it up and doing the sleeves and the collar and then the sleeve, and that by breaking it up that way, that maybe I can actually get it done. We shall see. And then the last couple of things I want to very briefly talk about. Well, I'm not going to even talk about that one right now. This one is a project that I actually need to get going as quickly as possible, because I need to knit my husband some socks. I want to knit him some socks for birthday. I want to knit him some socks for St. Nicholas Day, which is December 6th, and maybe even a pair of socks for Christmas, but we will see. Because the thing is I want to knit him some fingerless mitts, and those would probably be better for his birthday because he needs them sooner rather than later. But I've just cast on a pair of socks. I've got some, this is Peyton's Croy yarn. Stephanie from Texas Peach Knits and I did a swap a couple of years ago where we kind of exchanged a bunch of like leftover sock yarn scraps. And this is one of them. And I knew as soon as I saw it that this was going to become a pair of husband socks, and now it is finally happening. So I've just started that one. But there are some other things that are like some gifts, knit or crochets and whatnot that I am not going to share here right now. I'm going to try and get a picture of them all together and then share them maybe after Christmas, just to be sure that nobody sees it. So I've been working on a few other things, and then of course, like I said, I've got this other test knit that I'm working on, and I'm trying to figure out what all I want to get done before Christmas and all of that. So I'm trying to kind of figure that out. But that is all of the knitting content that I have for today. If that's all you're interested in, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. I would love to know what you've been working on. If you're interested in hearing a little bit of life update chit chat, stay tuned. I've got some of that here at the end. So, like I mentioned at the end of my last video, we had gone on a family trip with some of my husband's cousins, which was just absolutely amazing, so lovely. We did that kind of like early to mid-October, and then right at the end of October, my 5 of my siblings and I, there's 10 of us all together, so I have 9 siblings. 5 of us, 5 of my other siblings and I all got together to do like an early Thanksgiving sort of a thing, because we wanted to get together. One of my younger brothers is having a baby later this year, so we definitely knew that stuff right around Thanksgiving probably wasn't going to happen. And so we also just wanted to like hang out and see each other and all of that. The last couple of years we've had a number of my younger siblings get married. We've had 4 weddings, 2 last year, 2 this year. And my older sister thought that it would be really nice to try and keep the interactions going amongst us. My family's kind of spread out. We've got some here in like the Kentucky, Tennessee area, Missouri, South Carolina. Like we're kind of spread out. And so we're not always the best at staying in touch with each other. That's just not one of the strong suits of most of my family members. And so my older sister was like, we should really like make an effort and try and stay in touch and not just see each other at weddings and stuff. And so she came up with the idea of this little weekend, and we timed it for late October because my husband had a work trip. He was going to Vegas for a work conference, which that was really fun for him. He was telling me all about it, and he got to stay in this super fancy hotel and do all these super fancy things. And he was telling me that the hotel he stayed in, it was a 20-minute walk from his room all the way through the hotel to the conference room. Like, what? I probably would have been miserable there the whole time because of the volume of people and whatnot, but he had a great time. It was a good work trip. He got to have some fun experiences in living the opulent lifestyle and not have to worry about paying for any of it, so that was great. But then while he was doing that, I was with my siblings in this really lovely like lodge place that my sister found. We were in Sparta, Tennessee, which was kind of a middle ground between a number of people. And we all got together and just hung out and talked, and we did like a Thanksgiving type meal with pies, and we didn't do a turkey, but we had a ham and potatoes and green beans and all that stuff. But yeah, it was so lovely. It was a little sad because my husband wasn't there, so it was kind of like solo parenting it, and that's always a little bit tricky, especially when we've got 2 little kids. But we made it work, and it was really, really nice. I've been putting some video clips in throughout this, but the place that we stayed at was really nice. It was so perfect, like so family kid friendly, which I truly did not expect it to be. A lot of Airbnbs that I've stayed at are just not very kid friendly. There's stuff everywhere, breakable stuff everywhere, but this place was perfect. There was like this giant garage that there were a couple, like in the mornings I was up first of everybody because I have a baby and he's still little enough that he's getting up very early, and so I would take him out in this garage area and he'd just like run around and have fun. There were 5 little boys, 5 and under, between my sister and I, and so we would just leave the garage, the door from the house to the garage open, and they would just like run in and out, and like they had so much fun. It was great for my boys. They got to play with their cousins, and then my sister was also, she stayed with us for a couple days. The day before we went to the trip, and then a couple days after we got back. And so that was great. The weather was beautiful. There was like the most gorgeous view from the kitchen window at this lodge place. It was stunning. Like off the porch, you could see this lake that was like half a mile away. And one of the days we just there was like this rainstorm, this cold front that blew in, and we were actually like, we watched it blow across the lake, where it was like you could see it, where it was like you couldn't see the lake back here, but you could still see it here, and then like you couldn't see the like, and then we watched it blow in, and that was honestly one of the coolest things I've ever seen. It was so fun. But yeah, so it was a lovely weekend. I was able to play a couple of games. I mostly was on child duty, but because my baby's still pretty little. He's only 14 months now, maybe a little more than that. But he's still pretty young, and so he just requires a lot more one-on-one, hands-on stuff. But like the rest of my siblings got to play games and stuff, and it was just such a good time. It was so nice to be able to connect and be together, and we're really hoping that we can do it again in the future, because it was just, I don't know, there's something so magical about getting to hang out with your siblings as adults. It's just a whole new side of like the sibling relationship that I haven't really experienced before, and it was really fun, if a little disconcerting, because these are all like my younger siblings, except for my sister. It was my older sister, and then my 4 younger brothers were the ones that came, and then 3 sister-in-laws. It was a house full. But it was just so mind-blowing and amazing to just interact with like my younger siblings as adults, and like all the things, like they're all working hard, and like my younger brothers who are married, like they're working, they're providing for their wives, and the wives are like, just watching the like married people interactions between like my younger siblings and their spouses. Very weird, but also very, very sweet, and just, yeah, just really, really lovely. I was able to squeeze in little bits of knitting time here and there, and it was just such a good time to connect and hang out and talk and chit chat and catch up on everybody's lives. Like, it was just such a gift. It was a gift, and I'm so glad we were able to do it. We're hoping to do it next year. We're not sure exactly what's going to be in the cards, just with everybody's lives, and I think I've mentioned it here before, like my husband and I are hoping to have another baby next year, hoping that we will be able to be blessed with that. We shall see, but the timeline would probably be around next October, November time frame of when potential baby number 3 would be coming. So we're not sure exactly what next year is going to look like, but we are hoping to be able to do it again. And it would be so much more fun too if my husband could be there, because he would have had so much fun with everybody. It would have been great. But yeah, so there's that. Other than that, we've just been kind of recovering from October. October was insanely busy with a lot of trips, and it was just a lot. We had a lot going on. And so November thus far has been very chill, which I have greatly appreciated. We had a week of really horrible sleep for both my husband and I. My 3-year-old was up in the night screaming with like the growing pains things, that it's just like aching legs. It's not actually necessarily connected to growing pains, but we've always called it growing pains, that whole thing. So he was up screaming, and then my baby, we were trying to kind of crib train him and get him out of our bed and in his crib, but then he's been up screaming in the night and he's been teething, and so we've decided we're just going to put any sort of crib training on hold for now. Because this week, since I have not been trying to like make him stay in his crib, I've actually been able to get some sleep. And so honestly, me getting sleep is a higher priority at the moment than crib training him. So we're going to put that on hold and just kind of take it one day at a time. And when he's ready, we'll make that transition. So, yeah, it's just been that, trying to squeeze in knitting wherever I can, reading books. I found this new to me YouTube channel called Kirsty Knits and Sews, and I have been like binge watching all of her stuff. She has this really fun challenge that she did last year where it was like 12 cast-ons of Christmas, and I'll link her playlist down below, and I highly recommend you give it a watch, because I watched all of it in the last like couple of days, and it has given me so many ideas and plans for things to plan for knitting for next year and at the end of this year, and I've been absolutely loving it. And I want to go and like watch all of her other videos. But yeah, it's about time for me to go get my toddler up, and I need to pick up some of this knitting stuff first. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. It's just calm, cozy, quiet, trying to live our life the best way that we can, take care of our family, take care of our home, and just, yeah, live a quiet, simple, contented life, which is my ideal kind of a life. Because yeah, October was great and the trips that we took were really lovely, but it really took it out of me. And so I feel like I'm pretty much back to normal now, but there was a week or so there because it was like right after my sister left that then we started having some really, really rough sleep for a while. And so it was, I felt like I was still trying to recover from trips, and it was not a fun time. I was in a kind of rough spot, just so exhausted out of my mind that I was like, I just am struggling to even function. But we're kind of past that now. Like we're back in, still tired. Sleep is still a little bit, but it's better. And the weather has been amazing. I've been outside in the yard with my kids hours out of every day this last week. It has just been so wonderful and exactly what I needed. So that is all that I have for you for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for your patience over the last few months as my videos have kind of been here and there and all over the place. I'm hoping to get a couple more out in November, and I'm hoping to do Vlogmas this year. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to look like, but I'm hoping to do some Vlogmas, and then I might be trying to do the 12 cast-ons of Christmas. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, I hope that you're having a wonderful beginning to your November, and I would love to know what sort of autumnal projects you're working on or plans you have for your knitting and crafting. If you have any fun shows or podcasts or movies or whatever that you're really enjoying watching while you craft, I would love to know those as well. Yeah, I think that's all that I've got to share with you today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!